The movie starts with the ending of the second movie, where Josh and Dalton are having their memories of each other erased. It then jumps to about 10 years later, when Josh and Renee are no longer married. She does, however, bring Dalton Foster and Callie to the funeral for Josh's mother Lorraine. She tells Josh that the next week he should drive Dalton to college. Even though they don't get along as well now that they are divorced, then Josh sees a man nearby and walks up to him. He says his name is Carl and that he knew Lorraine in the past. After getting into his car, Josh texts Dalton to see if it's okay for him to drive him to college. A fuzzy figure can be seen walking towards Josh's car from behind. When Dalton texts Josh yes, he puts his phone away, and the figure is no longer there. Josh takes Dalton to his liberal arts school, where he meets his flatmate Chris Winslow. Chris feels like there was a mix-up because Josh thought she was a man because of her name. Dalton shows off his drawings and paintings, which show his mom, siblings, and sister, but not Josh. Dalton tells Josh how angry he is with him. As Josh leaves, he calls his son ungrateful, and the two of them quietly cry over it. Professor O'Regan is the first person Dalton meets in class. She is harsh and critical, telling one student to rip up his drawing because it is too simple. When the student says no, Armageddon kicks him out of class. Even though Armageddon says the drawing he made of Lorraine is beautiful, Dalton starts to tear it up. Lorraine likes his initiative. For their next drawing, she tells the rest of the class to remember a lot of things. This makes Dalton remember the further, and he draws a door with charcoal before a demon hand pushes against his and cuts him on the door. This also seems to wake up Josh in some way. Chris wants Dalton to feel more at ease by getting to know him. Dalton says he doesn't remember being 10 years old, and he's been scared of the dark ever since, which is why he sleeps with a bright night light on. Josh gets an MRI at the doctor's office. As the lights go out, he seems to lose consciousness while he's in there. When Josh starts to call for help, he sees what looks like a demon in a hospital gown crawling towards him. The doctor wakes Josh up and tells him that he was asleep for 15 minutes and that the scan went well. Josh is scared. Chris and Dalton hang out, and when they go to a frat party, they sneak into one of the fat boys' rooms. Nick is the place where Dalton ends up in the future and meets the ghost of a young pledge who died during hazing. He begs Dalton to close the door while he throws up in Nick's toilet. When Nick comes in for a condom, Dalton hides under Nick's bed. The dead boy then comes back to life and throws up on Dalton before Chris can find him. Chris gives Dalton a kiss before Nick comes in to make it look like they were just messing around. Nick then tells a rude joke about Chris, which makes her want to kick him in the balls. She and Dalton then run away. After Dalton goes to sleep at night, his astral body projects into the future. His use of Chris's keyboard in her new room wakes her up and lets her know he is there. She goes back to Dalton's room, where he is trying to explain what he has been seeing. Later, Chris looks into the astral projection phenomenon and finds a video of Tucker and Specs explaining it, as well as a video of Elise Rayner, whose name Dalton knows but doesn't fully remember. Josh is at home doing an exercise where he hangs up pictures of his family and friends to help him remember them since he can't remember much. Outside, the same person who stopped him at the cemetery starts to walk towards the window before it breaks and attacks Josh. After all the noise, Josh finds a box that says Ben Burton. Josh looks into Ben's case because he killed himself while he was mentally ill. Josh realizes that Ben is his long-lost father, whom he never knew and always blamed for being so bad. The box also has pictures of Lorraine. There is a note on the back of one of the pictures that says, "This ends with me saying that Ben thought that killing himself would stop the rest of his family from coming in any further." Chris goes with Dalton as they sneak back to Nick's room to use astral projection. Dalton wants to find the spirit of the dead pledge and talk to him. While they were there, a more evil being attacked Dalton in the faraway place, and Chris was attacked in the real world as well. Nick finds her unconscious but brings her back to life. Chris tells Dalton she can't help him anymore after she is taken to the hospital. Josh tells Renee what he learned about his dad when he goes to her house. We can tell why they got a divorce from what they said. One of the demons took over Josh, and he chased Renee and the kids with a hammer. That's why Dalton drew Josh as looking like a monster. Josh says that he needs to go back into the farther to end everything. In the same way, Dalton is remembering how Josh tried to attack his family. In the real world, one of the demons is taking over Dalton's body to attack Chris again. Both Josh and Dalton were able to find each other and try to get away from Kissy Face. Josh stays behind because he thinks it's his job to stop the fear. Dalton is able to get out. He ends up at the red door that Dalton Drew is trying to break through while wearing lipstick. When Dalton is in his room, he paints over the door, making it disappear, and wraps Lipstick Face behind it. After that, Josh sees Ben smiling at him, and he seems to finally forgive Ben for leaving him. When Josh wakes up, Renee and Foster are glad to see that he is okay. Chris and Dalton also stay together when everything is over. Later, Josh and Renee seem to be getting back together, which means he might move back in with her. Before he leaves, he has a vision of Elise telling him that he and Dalton have a bright future together. Dalton has added a painting of the time Josh carried him out of the further to his room, which Josh finds when he goes back there. This is where